Buy like a billionaire. You have until November 15, 2013 to buy your first $1,000 worth of gold or silver at spot prices. Click the link below in the More Info section for more details. Again, till November 15th.
Following segment is sponsored by Exera Incorporated, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol XAG.V. Exera plans to become a mid-tier producer of silver and base metals through the development of its Bilbao deposit located in the central Mexican mineral belt in the state of Zacatecas, as well as through additional exploration and acquisition opportunities. Find Exera on the web at exera.ca. Join me for a conversation with a frequent guest of the show, David Morgan, the Silver Guru, an expert on money, metals, and mining, also a lecturer and an author. Mr. Morgan has written Get the Skinny on Silver Investing, available on Amazon.com. His website is themorganreport.com.
David, welcome back to the program.
Great to be with you all.
Now, you just wrapped up the Silver Summit over there in the Spokane, Washington, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho area, and you, of course, were one of the key speakers at that summit, and you did a lot of interviews yourself over there. What's the pulse of what's going on in the Silver Valley over there right now?
Well, that's a great question, and I would say the Silver Valley is kind of moving along in a fairly good manner. I mean, there's been some issues with the Lucky Friday mine of Hecla's, but those have been straightened out, and they're back to work and doing fairly well. The Galena, which has been taken over from Coeur by U.S. Silver, they're making good strides, and things have kind of evened out there. I visited that one recently, meaning the last few months. So the Silver Valley, it's doing okay. It's not doing great, but I think what you might have meant was, how was the Silver Summit compared to other years? And the answer to that is that it was probably the lowest turnout we've had in the last 3 or 4 years. Although, I would say, one, that the people there are very, what I'll call hardcore. These are real people that are true believers in the fundamental facts about the precious metals. And I talked to the promoter, Cambridge House, and he informed me that they actually made money on the Silver Summit this year, and last year they broke even. So I think they actually were more company plays this year than they were last year. I don't ever make a habit of counting them one by one, but I've got a pretty good feel for these shows. I do a lot of them, as you well know, Ellis. And it turned out, I would say, it just felt like there were, I don't know, I could throw a number out there, 5, 7, 8 more probably companies there than there had been, let's say, the year before. So fairly weak turnout, but muted enthusiasm. I mean, many of my peers were telling the audience that they thought we'd have like 2 more years going sideways to down. Some of the more establishment speakers also stated that. Myself, I think the bottom's in. I'm pretty certain I'm right until I'm wrong, and what I mean by that crazy statement is I call the bottom at 1817 on that key reversal on the 28th of June. I know I've said it in almost every interview I've done over the last couple of months, but so far from then till now it's been 4 months, and 4 months above that. It also seems to, silver doesn't want to stay below like the $22 level for very long. The real breach case for me is the 2050 area. If we get below that and stay there for a few days in a row, that would concern me. Certainly wouldn't be a new bottom. 1817 was that, but silver seems to have pretty good support in this range. And I think we're going to see, probably in worst case, in my view, a couple more months. I think, you might get not a very good November, December. I mean, lots of people changed their, outlook on markets in general, stock markets, bond markets, investing. I mean, they really are not that concerned, generally speaking, with investing in the month of December. And there's also a lot of tax loss selling. A lot of people square their books and get rid of certain investments, try other ones, move to cash, whatever. So December is sort of usually a flat month for most investment markets. Normally, you see kind of a good move for the metals near the end of the month going into the first quarter, but that hasn't held for the last 2 years. We've had a pretty strong sell-off in the last month or so of the latter part of the year, meaning the full month of December, and right up until like the last trading day. So I am cautious this year that could happen again. But again, even if that does happen, would it take out that 1817 low or not remains to be determined. I don't think so. There are others that do.
Well, when people are selling off, they're cashing up, aren't they? And why would you want to cash up right now into dollars?
Well, no, you're right. I mean, that's one thing. And the other is on the stock side, there's ways to invest intelligently. And one way, for example, depending on what your other investment portfolio looks like, or what your individual case looks like, you might do a sale on a certain stock, maybe one you actually like, whatever the rule is. I think it's 30 days plus a day, and you could repurchase that same stock on a new cost basis. So, for example, a stock was at $1 and now it's at 25 cents. You could sell all that. This isn't tax advice. This is just general education. Yeah, you could sell it and you could take that write-off against some winner that you had or something else, and then come back. If you really love the company, you could back and, again, have a new cost basis to start. So there's those kind of things that go on. I mean, these are usually for the sophisticated investor or pros or portfolio managers or whatever, where they'll do this. I don't expect to see much of it. I mean, most of these stocks are so oversold, there's not much selling left. I mean, people don't own them anymore. They don't want to. There could be some.
They're truly penny stocks, that's for sure. And I'm encouraged, actually, in the midst of what's been a down market, when a small show, and the Silver Summit is relatively a small show with regard to booths available for these public companies that want to attract shareholders, these silver companies and some gold companies. When there's 7 or 8 more companies presenting, that's probably 20%, if not higher. Do these companies know something that maybe we don't know, the general public doesn't know about? Well, actually, I think you know it. Things may actually be turning around sooner than later.
Yeah, I look at it too. Sentiment is part of my analysis. I mean, part of my analysis is like subscriptions. I mean, I know when they're just, really increasing rapidly that we're probably getting near a top, and I know when it's an appointment-only kind of thing, like it is now, we're pretty much washed out at the bottom. And sentiment is part of the show. Sentiment was pretty muted. There wasn't much enthusiasm, either on the vendor part or on the investor part. And that's good. I really do, again, think that the worst is behind us and we're going to rebuild and move up. I think 2014 will be an up year. I don't expect it to be substantially great, although I always have to give the caveat. There's so much going on in the financial system, and it seems to be breaking down further. I mean, this thing with Saudi Arabia, which we wrote about in this month's Morgan report that just got issued actually this weekend, talks about, and many others are talking about, but the Saudis, who are really upset with America, decide to not necessarily take the dollar for oil, but to take other currencies for the oil. Because right now it's the petrodollar. Everyone in this group, people of concern about what's going on financially, know that the dollar is the petrodollar, meaning you can only buy oil in dollars. And anyone else who tries something different usually has a price to pay for that. But the Saudis themselves say, you know what, we're tired of this U.S. hegemony. We're tired of you guys telling us what to do. We're going to take euros, we're going to take rupees, we're going to take yuan, we're going to do whatever. And I think that's a possibility. Then all of a sudden, the U.S. dollar status will lose more substance than it already has. So we'll keep an eye on it, as are many other folks. But it is a concern, and again, it just seems to continue where more and more nation-states are finding ways to circumvent the U.S. dollar.
We'll be right back. The Ellis Martin Report is sponsored by Exera Incorporated, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol XAG.V. Exera is a Toronto-based resource company, and their primary project is the Bilbao Silver Zinc Lead Copper deposit situated in the Panfillo Natera district of Zacatecas, Mexico, approximately 50 kilometers south of the state capital of Zacatecas, where Exera is currently completing a bankable feasibility study. Between the company's Bilbao, Laguna, and Panfillo projects, Exera has a resource of 100 million silver equivalent ounces, including 33 million ounces silver in 43101 compliant resource. Zacatecas is a well-known mining district with infrastructure in place. Mining opportunities are both open pit and underground. There are no significant environmental issues, and there is an available local workforce there, as well as goods and services for development of the projects. You can find a full investor prospectus on Exera's website. Just log on to exera.ca or find their logo and click through on the homepage of our website, ellismartinreport.com. And we're back.
Let's talk about hedging. We've spoken about it before over the years. Now would be a good time if you truly feel that silver is at a bottom or near a bottom, even if it goes down a little bit, another $1 or $2, which is unlikely, but it could happen. Let's talk about stacking. Let's talk about the physical metal itself and obsessing about it and hiding it away, not in a closet, but somewhere where it's safe.
Well, first thing I'd like to point out is, this affiliate program that I'm with, which is silver123.net. Up until November 15th, which is only a couple more weeks, you can buy your first $1,000 worth of silver or gold for spot price. There's no add-on, no premium. And all dealers have to have a premium. Let's be realistic here. People that don't understand anything about the metals think that the spot price is what you can actually buy it for. No, spot price is what you can buy a commercial bar for, And even when you buy it at that spot price with the exact price quoted in the paper markets, you still have to pay transportation. You have to pay some kind of processing fee. There's a few little fees that are added on top of that, but that's not the best way to buy it. But when you get it, you get a big block. But that's what the mints buy. I mean, they buy these big blocks, and then what they do, they transport them, and they melt them down, and then they put them into different forms. They extrude them, they punch them out into planchettes, and then they stamp them into coins. So there's a lot of labor involved. So that's why a 1 ounce silver coin costs more than 1 ounce quoted on the exchange, because, again, the exchange is just a commercial bar form. It's not a finished product. Having said all that, you can buy a finished product at spot price, no markup. And this is just to encourage people. I think it's a great thing if you're going to put money into your grandkids or your kids or Christmas gifts. I mean, $1,000 is a lot for many people. Understand it doesn't have to be $1,000. It can be up to $1,000. But let's say you wanted to spend a couple $100 on 5 of your kids or whatever. You go in there, make that purchase, get it shipped to you, and hand them out as Christmas gifts. I always have done this. I should say always, but often have done this, where I provide silver as Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, anniversary gifts, that type of thing. And always seems to be appreciated. Of course, I'm one of those silver nuts. But, I never had anyone hand it back to me and say, geez, I really don't like this. It's a pretty nice gift. It really is.
Am I on your Christmas list, David?
Maybe you will be this year.
I'm going to need more than one round, though.
Yeah, I bet you will.
So really, it's an encouragement to get people to become familiar with the website and the service?
Yeah, just go to silver123.net. It's all on there. But yeah, it's a promotion. It's to get people familiar with it. And the idea of stacking, just to continually save some of your money into precious metals. And silver is far cheaper than gold, so you have the option of choosing silver or gold. You could actually do platinum palladium if you wanted to. And just make it a habit. Make it your savings plan. And they have a chart on the website, kind of hard to find, but it shows if you started at the inception of the bull market, which would be like in 2003, I think their chart goes from 2000, and you put in, I think, $100 a month, what that would be worth now. And it's substantial because, first of all, it's 10 years. Secondly, the price appreciation in those years of 2000 through 2006, 7, you're buying silver at a pretty cheap price. $2 cost average, you just make a certain amount of purchase every month, and you're in a bull market, you'll do quite well.
Well, one thing you and I are not really allowed to do at all is recommend purchasing any stock. We can't do that by law, but we can say go ahead and buy silver, can't we?
Yes, you can, and that's what I've taught from the beginning. If you're interested in metals, start with the real metal first. It's outside of any counterparty risk. It's private wealth for the most part, and it's provided transactions for all recorded history, really. I mean, a lot of times, and it still happens. I mean, it's certainly not happening very often, but even in a Craigslist from time to time, you'll see like apartments or certain goods or services that are offered for a certain amount of silver or gold. And again, not very often, but it does happen. I think you'll see more of it. I think as the economy deteriorates further, that you might see two prices. And I have seen this in the past. I do it at the farmer's market where it's this much in fiat or this much. And I've done that at farmers markets. I said, well, this much, but this silver's worth this much. Could I pay you in silver? That type of thing. Certainly you can do it. It just takes a little creative imagination. Don't try it at Walmart. People have never seen an ounce of silver, but you can do it in certain venues easier than others.
It's funny. I don't know if you do this. I read a lot of science fiction novels over the year and a lot of novels about after Armageddon or after the fall of the U.S. And silver and gold are always used as currencies in these novels. Have you ever noticed that?
Absolutely. And I point out the one in Star Wars, and I forget which one, but it was one of the last ones made. And I don't even know the name of the character, but they're out on a remote planet, and he's buzzing around like a big bumblebee with a crazy head on him. And they want to buy something, and the Jedi gives him, swipes his hand with federal credits, and the guy goes, oh, no, not out here. Out here we take gold. And he bites on a gold coin. Just cracked me up. It made me laugh because, again, you're right. In these science fiction novels, a lot of them are like, no, we don't want anything but the real stuff.
That's amazing. So silver123.net. David, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. Thanks again for joining me today in the program.
Well, thanks. Kind of light and fun. It's been pretty heavy here with the Silver Summit. I think I did 11 interviews the first day and something like 8 the next day. But it's all good. It's all going to be put up on the website over the next couple of months, really. It takes a while to edit some of these, but over the next month or two, we'll have everything posted for our members.
And by the website is silver-investor.com or themorganreport.com. All leads to the same place, right?
That's correct.
And your YouTube channel.
Silver Guru.
Fantastic, David. Thanks again.
Okay, thank you.
I've been speaking with analyst and newsletter writer David Morgan. His website is themorganreport.com. Listen to the segment again on the podcast page of our website, ellismartinreport.com. The preceding segment has been sponsored by Exera Incorporated, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol XAG.V. Exera plans to become a mid-tier producer of silver and base metals through the development of its Bilbao deposit located in the central Mexican mineral belt in the state of Zacatecas, as well as through additional exploration and acquisition opportunities. Find Exera on the web at exera.ca.